Oh, another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Westchester Country Club in Rye, New York, bringing you the Westchester Classic, with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: the Drip Bar Rye, Pisacano Eye, Ralph Lauren, Uline, Viking, Westchester Soccer Club, Xenon Paddle, Yave Tequila. My name's Steve Sullivan, along with special guests Macy Elliott and Lynn Burris. This is a men's quarterfinal match, and welcome to the pod, Macy and Lynn.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. I'm very happy to be here.
So this is the men's quarterfinals. Chris Humphreys, Felipe Osses-König with Anton Protsenko and Louis Volclair on the other side of the courts. How you guys feeling? What's the weather like in Rye, New York today?
It's a nice day for paddle. It's nice and cold, and I think we finally might have had a day with no sun. I think every paddle tournament we've had so far, the sun has been the fifth opponent on the court, right?
Right. This truly feels like paddle conditions. It's a little windy out as well, which should make for an interesting match.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a quarterfinal, 32 draw. I think there are a bunch of buys. I think we are second match for these guys. What is in your head, right? This is a marathon. Some of these tournaments have been one-day formats. This is a little bit of a mixed two-day format. How are you typically feeling, you guys, when you play one or two matches into the day?
Honestly, I like coming from tennis. I did used to like the two-day formats, but now I like the one-day tournaments more. I don't know. There's something about building momentum as you go on and being able to carry on with that throughout the day. And then I think it also gives you a little bit more of a weekend to be able to enjoy. So,
I think it's a tough balance to find, because these one-day tournaments, it's really fun. We get everyone on a Saturday night. Every tournament you get more people on a Saturday night, and then a lot of times you have a Sunday morning final, and it's not nearly as well attended, even though, like, for live streaming, we generally have higher live streaming numbers for the final. But it's a really fun atmosphere in order for the final and the, epitome of the tournament to be on a Saturday night. But then all these players are feeling it on their body the next day, for sure.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think some of the tournaments, this is a men's quarterfinal. You guys were in Baltimore. I was part of the Baltimore Open. We, experimented a little bit with the one-day no-ad. We only had a 16 draw, though. So it is a balance of, the marathon of athletics. You guys have talked a lot about, I've heard you before speak about crowds, player engagement. It's a balance of getting the right atmosphere, right?
Yeah, for sure. We have chair umpire here, Alan Villamere. And Linda, you want to go through the people on the court?
On the far side in the red hoodie, we have Anton Protsenko, who is the director of paddle at Country Club of Fairfield. And his partner is Louis Volclair, all the way from France, who is the director of rackets at Ridgewood Country Club. And then on the near side, in the orange beanie, black vest, we have Chris Humphreys, who is the director of rackets at Short Hills Club. And his partner is Felipe Osses-König, who is an entrepreneur and runs Volley fitness training.
Now this, I think, is this the first outing of the season for Humphreys and Osses-König?
This is the first outing of the platform tennis season for them. They just got back from the Pan American Games for Padel. They've been on the Padel tour the last several weeks and have been doing very, very well, is my understanding. And so I can't wait to see if we see some bandejas on the court. And maybe Volley will try one time to hit the ball against their own screen. I don't know. They might forget the rules of platform, but it's only fair. Give everyone else a fighting chance.
A lot of different racket sports. You guys obviously come from a big, strong tennis background. Pickles invading the clubs. Obviously, platform tennis is something near and dear to our heart. and padel, right? This game that's traditionally been in Latin America, Spain, growing in Europe. Are you guys playing? What's your take on padel?
I played a little bit in the spring, and then summer hit, and I had to focus more on tennis. I think it's really fun. I think it's a great sport, and it's kind of easier on the body. But nothing's like paddle. Nothing in the world is like paddle because it's culty, and it's in the cold. There's something about being freezing while you're playing and still getting a sweat on. Don't you agree?
Totally agree. I played a little bit myself last summer. I actually played a bunch, and then I really haven't touched my padel racket this year at all. But yeah, I think I agree with Macy. It's, the camaraderie of paddle that you get and being able to be outside in the winter. I think it's tough to beat the sport.
Mm-hmm. I am curious to see with how much padel Humphreys and Osses-König have been playing, if it speeds up their platform style at all, because I've definitely seen that happen with several of the other teams, and I think Volley's already as fast as any player out there, and he might even have gotten faster.
So just a good point. So just to orient, so on the near side on the stream, right, that's Felipe Osses-König sort of covering that middle ball. Chris Humphreys, he's a lefty. Yeah, he's a lefty playing the deuce court, right, going to try and work Louis Volclair, it looks like. I think this is still point number one. Yeah. We've had 4 transitions.
They've gotten the ball driven through them twice through the middle in the first point.
And I think the guys do that really well. When you look at the men's and the women's game, the guys really do such a good job with their transition. They're so okay with letting that ball go, where I feel like a lot of us are very stubborn and we want to stay at the net.
We're never stubborn, Lynn. I have no idea what you're talking about. Speak for yourself.
All right, we got a point on the scoreboard. So yeah, and it's still early in the paddle season. I think Rye, New York today is about 45 degrees. It seems to be a little bit windy, not a lot of sun. And that ball's still going to come off the screen, right? So these big, hard drives, 2 steps past the service line, and they may be able to just, get themselves back at the point.
Now, Steve, you've seen these teams play. What would you think would be a strategy here for, Protsenko, Volclair, or what do you think is the strength that they're going to have versus Humphreys, Osses-König?
My quick take is obviously Chris Humphreys and Volley have they have a big history playing together. They have a lot of experience. They've played at the highest level. A couple years ago, they were, top 4 in the country. Louis Volclair and Anton have a lot of skills, a lot of racket skills, a lot of creativity. Louis is probably going to be all over the court. He's going to be blitzing. He's going to be moving maybe when he shouldn't be moving, and probably try and keep, Volley and Chris a little bit off balance. So I'm expecting a little bit of contrast. I think Chris Humphreys and Volley will be a very solid, steady team and just kind of keep working.
Louis Volclair is one of my favorite players to watch. He's so unbelievably talented, and and I think the fluidity in his moves is because he's French. I wish I could be a little bit more like that. It's a great shot.
Yeah, he is very loose when he hits his strokes, which I love about him as well.
And then he'll, drop his hands in the middle of the point and just be, kind of chilling and watching, and then get back into action. Big shot by Anton Protsenko.
It is so amazing to see just when the men are at the net, I don't know how many volleys they actually miss.
None.
And it's always, they do such a great, I jinxed him.
15-30.
Come on now, Chris.
And it's a little bit of, Lynn, it's a little bit of positioning as well, right? They get on top of the net.
Correct.
And the balls seem like they're coming so fast. The reaction times are so short. But, look at, Volley right there. He just steps towards the net. He's right on top of the net. They make it look easy, but it's really their positioning as much as their volley skills in some ways.
Right. They do such a good job anticipating. They're there before their opponents even hit the shot.
I think we're going to see a lot of driving from Protsenko today. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I expect the flash from the far side of the court. It looks like all 4 players are starting ready to go. They obviously have a match under their belt, but I think Anton's hit, that's maybe his 3rd, just ripped ground stroke straight down the center. So he's swinging away.
Do we know where Anton played college tennis?
I don't, but I'm sure we can probably figure this out. Let's see.
This is something I should know the answer to, and that's going to bother me. We know that Chris Humphreys and Felipe Osses-König played together down at Elon. They're on the same team. I believe they were doubles partners down there as well.
It looks like South Carolina State, Anton Protsenko,
right.
some
Okay.
2013 records popping up.
And Louis Volclair played at College of Coastal Georgia.
The Coastal Georgia?
I think so.
Ah,
Fun fact.
fun fact from Louis Volclair.
Just how compact his swing is on that forehand.
I love they keep going through that middle. They got it through the middle of Humphreys Osses-König twice in that first point. They keep going through that middle. It seems to be working so far.
You know, especially if they haven't played too much yet this season, Padel, the court feels bigger. You have to cover a lot more ground. So,
True.
yeah, make them think about it. Make them kind of come together. They haven't really worked out their paddle kinks yet this season, so I like the strategy. And they've gotten it through 3 or 4 times.
So I think something interesting that we'll see here from Protsenko Volclair is, the serves. A lot of the men's teams have, these big, flashy serves. And Protsenko Volclair, you're going to see more, I don't want to call it necessarily normal serves, but more, basic serves. But their hands are so good with the first volley, it doesn't matter.
And this is Anton Protsenko serving here into the ad court.
Yeah, serves it back. Oh, redrive. No problem.
I think that also just goes to show, why go for a big serve and in some cases, if you're not so comfortable with it and risk missing it, when,
Put the serve in.
It's all about just getting into the point too sometimes.
Yeah.
15 all.
So Macy,
We've
you've
seen that with my serve.
I was just going to say, you have played around with your serve.
Lynn's next to me. She's looking at me. She's like, so we know from experience that's
So you
more
have the
important
big-
to get the serve in.
No doubt. You have the big serve, but you've also, last year, I think more than this year, experienced with that softer serve, right? What's
Correct.
the thought process? Is it consistency, or is there something else in your head?
It's consistency, but also placement. And if you serve the ball where it's lower, then the return can't go down at your feet, right? The return has to be up above the net, making it an easier first volley. And again, the whole purpose of the serve is to get into the point. How many points do we really have where we went off the serve or we went off the return, even though we crack it? But usually we win the point or lose the point 20 shots later. So the most important thing is to find a way to hit the first volley back in and get into the point to do what we need to do. It also helps when you have a partner like Lynn who has a big, amazing serve, so he can just
Look, that serve is
just chill.
very underrated. It is, whenever we're warming up and you're serving it to me, it is tough to return.
I see how low you get.
1 all.
Gotta make sure you're doing leg day.
Leg day. Speaking of serves, with Felipe Osses-König going with the roller serve. We're seeing all different types of serves today.
Yep, we've seen all three.
The nice thing about that roller serve is that it puts that extra little bit of spin on the ball, as well as it stays low, so your opponents have to hit up on it. It doesn't make it super easy for them to tee off on. No one on the women's side really has the underhand serve. I know Allison Morgan has been toying around with it some. And Roxy Anika, Roxy, who's not playing this year and we miss her, has the underhand serve. Nice roller by Louis. That's the right take, though. For those who haven't watched Felly, when I say Felly, I'm referring to Osses-König, who haven't seen Felly play. Like, that backhand is absolutely fire, and when he starts to play well, watch out. Find a way to get the ball away from him, right? So even though he misses that backhand, he's got to go for that bread and butter all day long, because eventually it's going to go in, and it's going to be scary for the other team.
Yeah, sometimes you can debate, is that the right shot? Was he a little bit in the green? But at the end of the day, everyone has a DNA. Everyone feels like a style that gives them motivation, gives them energy, gives them excitement about playing. So these guys, the skill's really high. They're going to have their styles, and you really got to let them play, right? His backhand, to your point, is probably one of the cleanest backhands in the game. So I agree. Let him swing away.
Him and Mr. Robert Steinman.
That's a big one.
Huge backhand. And Mr.
I
Sven
definitely thought
Burush.
you were going to say Sven.
Mr. Sven Burush. Huge backhand.
When he loads up on that thing, it is scary. Steve, what are your thoughts on the cutter in the men's game? The overhead cutter.
The overhead cutter back to the baseline that we've seen so far, not the kill, not the slash cutter, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a balance. Last year, I thought it was really interesting with Alvy and Jose, the top men's team. They were hitting cutters, but they really showed this different sort of push volley. They were not as aggressive. Like the classic Juan Araya, looks like your shoulder's going to fall off. Cutting, swinging. It's the traditional shot in paddle. I think it's everybody hits it a little bit differently. To me, it's about variation. Side, backside, to the deuce, pulling it into the ad. I think the best, most effective, slash overheads are the ones who have variability for sure.
Right. And the reason I asked this actually is because we played an EXO not too long ago with Jose Salazar and Guillermo Nunez. I was paired up with Jose, and he didn't really hit any cutters, and I asked him, why don't you hit cutters? Why don't you hit cutters in your matches? And he said, well, what's the point if the ball's going to sit up? I'd rather hit a roller where, it's going to stay down. And I was like, that's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, they hit a lot of rollers. They hit that really soft kind of dead push low volley down the center. They're in no rush to go anywhere. It's definitely wear and tear in your body. The shot that's sort of come in a little bit in the last couple of years is that really low cutter that's hit deep into the corner. So the righty kind of slicing it into the deuce court that sort of can hit the board, can sort of stay really low. That's a pretty amazing shot. That's great variability, but
15-30.
It's risk reward. I think it's a good point by Jose.
All.
What do we think in terms of athleticism for this match?
Wow. Sick shot by Felly.
40-30.
So we're looking at him right here. Felly Osses-König. He is Mr. Fitness. I think that is his entrepreneurial business, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, personal trainer.
Yeah, it's this game especially, not just the endurance of a long day, but is, we're in game number 3. These guys have been playing for a little bit. Yeah, it's really about chasing down balls, moving. Positioning to me is more important than sometimes the shot of the defense, getting in the right position, taking the first step. So I'm looking for some athleticism from Mr. Osses-König today.
2-1, first set.
I was going to say, before we did that replay, I was going to say, who's this sneaky fast? Anton Protsenko. I probably played more exhibitions with Anton than any other guy on the men's side, and he is so fast. All of a sudden, I just make sure I get out of the way. At one point, I think we did an exhibition at New Canaan Field Club. We were playing behind the baseline. He was playing singles, standing on the center mark, and I had my back on the back screen behind him. And I was like, okay, wherever and he was playing alone, and I just, was there for emotional support, really.
So he's sneaky quick, huh?
He is sneaky quick. All of a sudden, he hits a new gear. He comes out of nowhere.
So that instant replay, right? The backhand cutter kill shot by Osses-König. I think my paddle's been doing a little bit of a cutter challenge. I know I've seen Johan Durant, I've seen a couple other people. Have you guys taken that? I know you do a lot of content out there as well.
I've definitely.
Is this
not
a
done
shot?
that.
You guys have this shot? You like this shot? You don't try this shot.
I think I need to try do some practice for the cutter challenge.
Yeah, we're going to have to work on that. I was drilling with Sven the other day, and it was pretty bad.
And it was horrible.
I think we've just teed up the content everyone now wants to see. So if Mr. Mark Innes is listening, let's get the cutter challenge. Lynn Burish is up next.
I saw Dan Hansen doing the cutter challenge. I think
his was sick.
That 28.
Totally sick, yeah.
Way to put me on the spot there, Steve.
I know.
You're in. You're in.
You're not giving me a lot of time here to even practice the shots.
Must see.
Give the people what they want, Lynn. They want to see it. Oh my God, what it gets.
So it's interesting. I don't know, Lynn or Macy, what you guys think. So as far as positioning, Humphreys and Osses-König, super traditional. When they're at the net, it's sort of like classic up, back, working one side. Louis and Anton, we talked earlier, they have a lot of creativity. Their skills are ridiculous. They're a little bit undisciplined, right? They're moving, they're kind of back a step, but they're just as solid as the net. Their volleys are just as good. What's your take? Are you seeing that as well? They're just improvising a little bit? A little bit back. Let's see what they do here.
When you say a little bit back, you mean to the deuce side, correct?
So, yeah, for us, when they're in the deuce side,
you know.
exactly. They're locked in here, right?
Protsenko's
Anton's in the
tight
right
on the
spot.
net.
Yep.
That was a great shot by Chris.
I think they all trust their shots enough in order to move side to side, and they're just anticipating correctly, right? And obviously, you'll see a more traditional positioning from Osses-König and Humphreys because you have the lefty-righty combo. So if Chris is picking on the deuce side, he's going to take the overheads, and Volley's going to be on top of the net. And vice versa on the ad side, whereas Protsenko Volclair, you've got two righties, so that's why the positioning is going to be different with those two.
I think that's a great point.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, more. They have more choices. The righty, you can decide. Obviously attacking the ad court's a little more natural, but you can decide: do we want to switch? Do we like how it, how we feel? Lefty righty gives them a little bit more clarity of, what are we going to do? Whose ball is whose?
And also, this is I don't have personal experience with this, but it would make sense that in a lefty-righty combo, you're always going to be a little more staggered in order to not cause as much confusion. Because if you go side by side with the lefty righty, if you don't have a clear game plan on what you're going to do, easily.
Forehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
People ask us all the time, when you have a lefty righty that you're coaching, and they say, well, whose ball should that be? And it's like, well, it really could be either of yours depending on what you want to do.
Correct.
That was sick shot by Anton. He was admiring it a little bit. I don't blame him.
Chris is giving me big Cali surfer vibes.
Oh, always.
With that hat. I love the hat.
For those of you who don't know, Chris Humphreys is from, New Mexico, Nuevo Mexico, and he always, his hat game always seems to kind of sport that kind of home roots.
15-30.
I had no idea he was from
Really?
Mexico. Oh.
Yeah. The only New Mexican guy I've ever known.
Any idea where in New Mexico?
I knew you were going to ask me that follow-up, and I decided to go with the fun fact anyway.
30 all.
They have some very interesting paddles out there. Felly's paddle has an American flag on it. Any idea which paddle that is? Which monster paddle that is?
It is the M1.
30-40.
And I personally think that's the best looking M1. I love that paddle.
What are your thoughts on the paddles, Macy, with the regular holes versus the elliptical and pill shape?
Great backhand by Chris. I am a big fan of the regular holes, for consistency and predictability. I've tried both from the Master and the Xenon side, and the first couple times I play with them, I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is amazing. I'm a new player. I can hit all new kinds of shots. And then you play a little bit longer, and you're like, I hit a ball to the right that I didn't mean to. Like, this ball was supposed to go here, and it went way to the right, and I have no idea why.
Right.
And I feel like if you hit it a little bit wrong, it doesn't pan out for me. Because yours has the elliptical holes, right?
I use the regular elliptical holes, which I never thought I would ever do.
Not the bigger elliptical.
The regular.
The regular.
Small.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I just feel like it grabs onto the ball more, and I can get more spin on my ground strokes.
Yeah.
But I totally understand what you're saying about the control.
Well,
the shots.
When I was playing, nice shot, Chris. When I was playing with the red paddle, the red Xenon, I had those same holes, and I liked them a lot. And then I went purple.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of a transition with the paddle technology. You guys are both with Xenon. We had a Xenon Racket Day. Sam Byram came out to our club in Baltimore, and one of the challenges with the players at the club level is they see these holes, they get told what the holes are going to do for them, and then they just start swinging crazy. They're trying to generate extra spin. They're not letting the paddle sort of do something. But yeah, there's a lot of debate. There's a lot of change coming. Everybody's sort of experimenting, keeping the regular standard holes and some of the big ones as well. So it might take a couple years to settle in, or maybe we're going to have choices.
Right. I also think it has a
Wow.
lot. Jeez.
That was a big serve to follow up the volley. Big serve. That was a great change up by Anton. He looked like he was going to drive and then lob last second.
A little communication.
Right.
Let's see, do we have a sponsor read, Lynn or Macy?
Yeah. We are going to talk about our friends at Volley. Volley. Have you played with the Volley, Steve?
We have. We have one at my club as well, yep.
That Volley is amazing. Volley, train in real game scenarios with serve and volley, the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI-powered feature tracks your position, the ball, and returns every serve for targeted practice. Try it today on the Volley app.
I have tried it. You guys talk a little bit about your clubs. Do you guys have a volley? Like, what's the view from a teaching perspective?
We have looked at it at my own club, and we saw the technology, and it's amazing what they can do. And I think it would be great even for my own personal use. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough people or a big enough program in order to support it. But we've been looking into it, and we're thinking maybe in a couple years, if everything keeps growing, we need to get one, because that volley machine is so sweet.
It's amazing what it can do.
Yeah.
Over at Plainfield Country Club, we actually kept our machine this year. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to see how it goes, but I think it's a great tool for players to get extra reps in and to be able to just go out there by yourself, and it can literally feed the same ball over and over again.
When we did the trial, I did like this advanced workout with it, and it gave 20 balls, and there was a setting of like level 1 to level 5, and he said, "Okay, Misa, you're going to do level 5." I said, "All right." I was exhausted after. I was like, this would be way better than going on a run and actually working on your skills. And it can give you cut, it can give you rollers, all that jazz.
I wonder if there would be a way to like incorporate that into some sort of cardio paddle.
Cardio? Oh, 100%.
All right, so 1-4. Anton Protsenko serving. A little bit of a loose volley in that first point. So these two need to see if they can sort of slow down a little bit of momentum here.
I know, it's very interesting to see how quickly he was ready to serve. I just feel like he should take a little breather and regroup after 2 quick points.
That drive through the mill has been working for Louis very well.
So here's my take on the volley. I'm curious, Lynn and Macy, what you guys think. So I come from a tennis background. You guys come from a tennis background. Tennis is all about practice, drilling, down lines, cross courts, volleys, mixing things up. People, when they train, they practice, especially at the rec level in paddle. You just show up, spin it, and start playing, right? What we see a lot at the club level is it's not a lot of practice. You just play, right? And you don't get the chance to work on a shot, digging. And this is one of the interesting things that the volley, technology coming into paddle may introduce practice as a much bigger part of how people, try and get better.
Well, I agree, and that's something that I tell my players all the time. You need to find time to play, and you need to find time to drill. Right, and so a lot of people have a hard time finding, that person that they can drill with one-on-one. And if you have the volley machine, you can, have AI and make it exactly what you need. When I was first starting to learn the game of paddle, Bernard Schulman was my volley machine, and he just threw all those all those different cuts and spins at me, and I said, okay, more.
15-40.
Really nice cutter there by Volley. Didn't even come off the side screen, and I think Anton was a little bit flat-footed.
Love that early communication.
Game, Humphreys, Osses-König. You lead 5-1 first set.
Felipe Osses-König smiling as he's about to serve. It was because he smiled.
Cut the line. Overall. Yeah.
Oh, overall, it was in.
Oh.
15 all.
I haven't been around on the paddle circuit for a long time, but I just want to say that the quality of this live stream is phenomenal.
This is so good.
Do we know who's doing the live stream?
It is Joho Media. So,
Joho Media.
Right? We have Jake Lane, our producer, who's really the talent. But yeah, every year, one of the great things about Joho is they have new camera angles, really good technology. You can see during the point, they're just really dynamic, giving you a different view. They're doing close-ups on players. I think for the viewer especially, this is, every year it gets a little better.
No, this is amazing. I actually was, nice shot. I was actually going back and watching 2020 Nationals the other day, and I was like, is that ball in? Is that ball out? We've gotten spoiled now.
Hard to watch.
Great return down the line. I tell players all the time that, the down the line return is not used nearly enough, I don't think. And even just to send the message that, you're going to do it. If the net player knows that ball is always going to go cross court and it's predictable, they get, too comfortable. I think just every once in a while throwing it down the line just to keep them thinking.
Right. I was actually doing returning formations with my ladies at practice this week, and you always think about serve formations, and we don't really talk too much about the returning formations and variety of shots on the returns and how much you can actually do on that return.
And do you teach your ladies to tell each other, what their plan is before?
100%.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to.
I think it's so important to know what your partner's going to do, so you know where to be and you know what to expect.
30-40.
All right, really big forehand there by Louis Volclair. These guys have a break point. Let's see if they can tighten this up a little bit this first set.
Big shout out to Tom Dixon and the Nantucket crew. They're all watching all the way up from Nantucket. Another close serve.
Protsenko.
Oh.
I think he needed more spin.
We're all human.
It's okay, Humpty Dumpty.
Humphreys, Osses-König lead 5 games to 2 first set.
Spoken like a true roller queen.
Roller City.
So interesting. We got a little QR code on the screen. One of the things the APTA has brought us this year is something with court director. So the matches that have umpires, there's also some floating scores. You can click on this QR code and really link into not just this match. I think there's also, Lynn, another quarterfinals you're probably following closely somewhere or trying to get an eye on. But yeah, this gives you scores and sort of a follow along with all the other matches.
I actually didn't know where to find this. I've been wondering where to find the live scores.
Was that a dinosaur on the QR code? Can we just address that and not gloss over the fact that there's a dinosaur? I'm in support of it, 1,000%.
So we talked about the roller. Chris sort of whiffed it, looking for a little extra spin. You guys have both done some content with my paddle on the roller. I don't know. I think you guys were sort of saying something a little bit different, right? Did you guys say this is how you hit a roller? I felt like one of you was saying go this way, one of you was saying go that way. But what do you guys think? What's the use of the roller? How do you guys feel about it?
What a volley.
Yeah, great hands.
I think Macy has the best roller in the women's game. I think it's fair to say that. She does a great job mixing it up. She can go hard roller. She can go soft roller. She can really do whatever. She can roll from behind the service line, which is, not what we teach our students, but she can do it. So I'm always trying to get tips from her on how to hit the roller. But Macy, what would you say when it comes to teaching that roller, or what you think of when you're hitting it?
Well, I see what people, people see the roller, they see that it stays low, and so everyone assumes that you need to roll over the top of the ball. And that's not true. Like, you don't need to roll over the top of the ball. Making the ball have top spin is getting the ball to spin up, right, and turn over forwards. And so if you just focus on going up on the ball and hitting it as low as possible, you get way more spin. If you try to go over it, you generally grab way too much of the ball and you hit a flatter roller, which is still good. It's just not as effective as a super spinny roller. And then you want to be able to hit the hard, flat one, basically mostly because it's fun, and also to, keep people on their toes.
What do you call that shot in paddle, Macy?
The term is actually, I'm blanking on it right now. I'm pretty sure it's a colorful term, though. I like the move.
Mm-hmm.
There's where that fitness comes into play. Wow, sick hands. A little bit of pickleball on the court by Louis Volclair.
Love it. Yeah, great hands by Anton, and Louis Volclair just sort of, stayed home and got into a little dink match. But 40-15, definitely not a momentum switch, but it'd be nice to see these two get a little bit closer into this first set.
I was talking to Anton Protsenko before the match, and we were talking about the fact that we were commentating on it, and he said, if you ever see Louis and I talking in the middle of the point to try to strategize, we don't understand what each other is saying. So it's really, if you see us talking, not much is getting done. And if you see us moving between points and not talking, it's because we know there's really no point.
Oh, there it is again. Sorry to cut you off. But
Drive through the middle?
Through the middle.
They got to drive through the middle all day long.
All right,
I know, Steve, you mentioned not a crazy big momentum shift, but I really do feel like the momentum shifts in paddle are crazy.
Oh, yeah, I feel something, that's for sure.
When compared to tennis, it's harder to come back in paddle. You can lose a couple points quickly, miss some serves, and all of a sudden it's back to 5-all.
Oh, the drive in the middle still worked.
Wow.
Still worked. Felipe got a little bit ambitious with that shot, but a great lesson, right? The ball comes over. Chris Humphreys just sort of confidently threw it up in the air. Retreat, get back in the point. Really smart play, and Felipe went for the home run.
Look how still they are when they hit those volleys.
Unbelievable. And the thing is, they make the volley look so easy because they're still, and that is so hard.
Yeah, Lynn, I think you called out what's so different about the paddle volley versus the tennis volley, right? In tennis, you talk a lot about getting on your toes and split stepping and, pivoting off the back foot, leaning into the front foot, turning sideways, a little bit of a follow through. Paddles, as little movement as possible. Don't turn sideways. Don't step into it. Hold a backhand. Maybe hit 70% of the space with a backhand. I love that difference between paddle and tennis because it's so...
Oh. That was going to be a Humpty Dumpty special.
Yeah.
Have you guys, back to the volley, have you guys seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yes.
Have you seen that? So I tell this to my players, the scene with the surfing instructor, and he's like, no, do less. No, do less. The less you do, the more you do. It's the same thing.
Oh, what a shot.
That's the cutter. That's the cutter I was talking about before.
That's what you were talking about,
beautiful shots. It's almost a kill shot if you hit it right. And it's really about letting it drop not only to your shoulder, but almost a little bit below your shoulder and just sort of driving it through the corner of the court. Love that ball.
What are our boys decked in right now? Is that M4?
Yeah.
They're looking really sharp.
Yeah.
I love
Humphreys
Chris's
and
pants.
Osses-König. Those pants are M4 too, right? Yeah, they are.
I want to say yes.
Yeah, Chris and Volley are some of the other M4 ambassadors.
Protsenko, Volclair.
Wow. Might have been a momentum shift.
There's a little shift.
Huge. Yeah, love the move, the anticipation by Louis. And, yep, Lynn, you're right. It is actually a momentum shift here. Feels good. And obviously, these two guys that we're looking at on camera, Anton Protsenko and Louis Volclair, sometimes the creative innovative, athletic. They need something, right? They need a spark. They got to get into it mentally and feel like they're having fun. It looks like there's a little more bounce in their step the last couple games.
Right. I mean, Louis always has a pep in his step.
I think
but
Louis
it
always has a
seems
pep in
like
his
he
step.
has a tad bit more pep right now. With those touching on the momentum shifts, it's like, they're still 5-4 up, but what's going through your head is you were just 5-1 up, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going through your
And
head.
you just lost a couple games, and that's
What
just
a get. See, sneaky quick.
Yep,
Love
little
15.
flap the leg, Louis there. I
Right.
think he realizes he's got to help Anton out. That was a huge dig off the side.
So, question for you is, last time we had this serve, Anton served at, they were down 4-1, is that correct? Do I have that right?
when Anton was serving the side.
Yeah.
Could be. The game went by
They
really
would've
quickly.
been
They
down.
lost and they went
Yeah.
down 5-1. And then,
Yeah, that's right.
okay.
Just watching from the booth here, it's crazy to see how quickly his racket, his paddle, is moving when he hits that.
Another
Cutter.
cut to the deuce side by Louis gets him the point.
15-30.
Really tough to hold that paddle steady without letting that ball just spin off it.
Oh, the sun's out. I wonder if sun will be a play because Chris and Volley are looking into the sun.
15-40.
All right. 2 set points.
I think sometimes it's hard to find the balance between not reacting to a drive and actually setting it up, which is kind of what happened there with Louis. Well, it's windy out
It
there.
was the wind.
Humphreys, Osses-König, they won the first set. 6-4.
As soon as he missed, I looked over at the tree next to the court, and the tree was
Exactly.
blowing like almost completely sideways. All right, we've
There
got
you
one
go.
set, but we've got ourselves a match.
Got ourselves a match, and we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by Joho.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Westchester Classic in Rye, New York. Quarterfinal men's match between Protsenko and Volclair versus Humphreys and Osses-König. Len, Macy, a little bit of back and forth in the first set. What did you guys see?
Yeah, it was a good first set. I'm actually happy that Volclair and Protsenko managed to get those couple games and not let it kind of just fly by and give the other two a lot of momentum. Really, really like that drive down the middle. I think it's proving to be very effective.
I agree.
I think
15 love.
the difference in that set was just a couple of loose errors on Protsenko and Volclair's part.
So you
No.
mentioned, Macy, as we were going to the break, you saw a little bit of wind. I think Louis sort of whiffed the ball.
30 love.
The sun's now out. What are you guys thinking? It looks like it's clearly now right in the face of Louis Volclair in the deuce court. How do you guys think about the sun? Is it something you try and play to your advantage? Do you play differently, or is it something you can just block out?
I mean, something you definitely have to adjust for. Sometimes you might have a game plan of, only hitting to one side or mainly picking on one person, and then all of a sudden that person is in the sun. And then you have to really analyze, is it worth it if you can't see half the balls to in order to pick on that side. And sometimes you say, you know what, it's not even worth it to go because we're going to whiff a ball eventually.
Right, so here it's, Chris Humphreys as the lefty is the one looking into it actually, right? So
Correct.
They should be thinking about it, but at the end of the day, you also still have to play your strategy, play to the right spots.
Mm-hmm. And also we've seen there's been several matches, ours and other matches where a team will decide just to serve and stay back if the sun gets so tough because there's no sense in coming in. Great shot.
What a volley.
There's no sense in coming in and being risky, especially if you're having trouble with that first volley anyways. You might as well just give up the net. You can see a little bit better from the back. Look at the way Louis moves to the net there. Did you see that?
That's one of those loose arrows I was talking about.
Well, that was one you were talking about earlier, like reacting to a drive versus, planning a drive. And it's hard, and because when you're out there, even if you see it a split second, you're like, oh, I should have been looking for this drive. I'm going to take it, and it's hard to lay off of it because that was 100% a drivable ball.
Right.
It's the right decision.
And the challenge at this level, right, this is the top level of the game. They can drive a lot more than the average player. So sometimes as we watch, we think, oh, that's not a drive. For these guys, they have to be so selective because you're right. They can take a lot more balls than the average club player. And the volleying's a lot better, right? So it goes back to risk reward. Errors tend to be the differentiator in paddle more than, the winning shot sometimes. So
wow.
Felipe was there, right?
Westchester Country Club made an amazing setup for this today. Like they've got a whole setup. They've got a big barbecue and lunch going on in the back. It's a beautiful club here in Westchester County. They had a tough act to follow up with the Aronimink Open last weekend. JC Cotto, big shout out to JC, put on an amazing tournament last weekend down in Philadelphia, and he ran just an unbelievable event for both the spectators and the players.
What an absolute vibe that was.
Thank you, JC.
Yeah, it looked like a great event. So I was doing some of the commentary. You guys obviously had a big, tournament. You won the tournament. Looked like a great vibe, a huge turnout in members, which is great, right? You guys won. You guys are looking for that. But tell us more about the environment last week or what you see this week.
Last weekend, JC had, he had a tent. There was a live band on the Saturday night, and just the enthusiasm from the crowd down there. I think, Philadelphia is getting ready for Philly Nationals. Going to be hosted, Philly Cricket Club with Boris and Bruce Redpath, and I think the whole Philly paddle area is getting really excited for that Nationals, and they are going to put on quite a show for all of us. I think.
You could kind of feel it in the air. They're getting revved up, geared up, and I think it's going to be a great Nationals. I'm so excited for it.
Wow.
What a volley.
That was an unbelievable close by Philly.
Club level that I see is just anticipating. Sometimes it's a lot of reacting, where here you can see they're already there before the ball's being hit.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of club level players, they look at, they get smart and they start to look at their positioning, right, as the reason that they made or missed a shot, and that's the first step. But then I think sometimes club players blame their positioning on why they miss a shot, and then you have to look at, well, your overhead selection didn't set you up to have an easy anticipation. If you're making work hard on yourself by having poor or difficult overhead selection, then it's, you know, your positioning is trying to catch up with that. If that makes any sense.
Oh, totally, it does. I think what I also see sometimes are people dwelling on the shots that they hit instead of getting ready for the next shot.
1,000%.
So I think we're all human. We're never going to hit the shot like we want it every single time, and I think it's all about getting ready for that next one.
You see, every time they drive, Osses-König is on top of that net.
Yeah, his positioning, his anticipation. Obviously, he's very active, taking a lot of the court. At this, point before this, he stepped right in front of Chris. They miscommunicated a bit, but yeah, this is fun to watch.
I love Chris's push overhead.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
It
I
is
was about to talk about it.
amazing.
He has one of my favorite overheads.
Wow.
Wow.
It's just he lets the ball drop so low.
He holds it
He does
so
hold it.
long. You're like, what's he gonna do? Yep.
It's the same
Really
setup
good
every
court.
time.
Loading his legs. Really
I like-
nice technique.
I like how Felipe went all the way into the green there.
All.
Shoulder high, let it fly.
Shoulder high, let it fly.
15 all.
Yeah, I
I think we're all guilty of that.
I
one.
think Humpty learned that at paddle camp. Wow, good eye. I thought that was going in.
15.
I'm not surprised.
I know you're not surprised by that. Just need to yell at me more.
Sounds like something you two are trying to work out.
Your judgment sometimes is very questionable.
Are you talking about on the court or what?
No, and just in life in general. Well, I think this game is so important for Volclair and Protsenko to try and stay in this match.
It's a huge game.
Seems like
Yep.
points are going by very quickly now, and
Yeah, guys, slow it down a little bit.
one at a turn. And just listen how Humphreys is helping his
Yep.
partner out with the screens, yelling 1 and 2, which is so helpful.
Yep.
When you're in the moment and you're hitting those shots, sometimes it's tricky to read.
Oh, Chris didn't call that one.
There you go.
He didn't say anything.
40-30.
That was all him.
Uh-huh, I agree.
I know we showed the QR code before, but maybe just a quick score update. Burish and Ong in the another quarterfinal, down 4-3. It looks like they're on serve against Roderick and Enrique.
Who else do we have? We have Dabic and Salazar against Grigorovich and Ostojic. Dabic and Salazar won the first set 7-5, and they're 1 love up in the second.
Osses-König. They lead 3 games to 0. Second set. They won the first set 6
And
games
that
to
is all
4.
we have on the live scores for the men.
Yep, that's all we see. I guess there's another match out there of interest to somebody here. Let's see. What do we got here? Where is Mr. Tomas Christian?
Where is Mr. Tomas Christian?
Yeah, that man, Nunez Powers, Christian Page. That's probably going to be a slightly long match. So
It's okay. Well,
really
there's
good
still-
draw
there's
here at
still time.
Westchester. Yeah, really good draw here at Westchester this weekend. So Macy and Len, you guys are not playing this weekend. Where's your next stop? How are you guys planning the next couple weeks? till
That
we get
is
to the end of the
very
year?
confidential
Love
information.
15.
Is this a last bit at entry, right? We
We-
hold it till the 24th hour of the last day.
Always. We can't be
Nice.
giving out all of our plans.
Love it. Love it. Love it. This is like 12 and under junior tennis.
Uh-huh.
Looking at looking at ratings and points and love it.
Actually, a lot of the time it's like, oh shoot, we forgot to register, and we're getting a text from the tournament director. Like, are you guys playing?
I need to sign us up for the Fairfield Open. Then
I was thinking about that.
I won't be getting a text from the tournament director. Since
That's you.
That's me. Yeah, I'll take care of that one.
Or
Fairfield Open, the best way to ring in the new year.
I love that.
There you go. Louis tries the tweener and didn't quite make contact there. So, all right, Macy, you're a tournament director right after the new year. We've been talking a little bit about the environment for the players, the environment for the spectators. You guys got a big plan at the Fairfield Open?
We've got a huge plan. The spectators is our number one concern. And it was just New Year's. It needs to be a big party. It's going to be your last weekend. Then we go back to work. We're going to get a tent set up. We got the bleachers. We got the live band. I am making it my own personal responsibility to make sure there is an ice luge there. That is the promise I'm going to make. And that's
huge backhand by Philly right there.
Huge backhand.
Humongous.
15-40.
Philly heard about the ice luge. She got excited.
Definitely. Look, I think originally when we had first spoken about that, I was like, that is way too early in the year to play a tournament. I like my holidays, I know. I like to chill for a little bit, but oh my gosh, it is going to be such a fun time.
Is everyone's holiday, so that's the number one. It's going to be a fun time for everybody.
I hear that Mr. Sventro might be playing that too.
I told Mr. Sventro he's going to be playing that, so I hope.
He is currently looking for a partner. If anyone is looking to partner up with Sven Burris, slide into the comments.
There's an auction going out. Well, the good news is this is where we were, almost where we were in the first set. First set, they were down 4-1, came back. This might be their comfort zone. It's where they want to be.
This is, mentally such a tough spot to come back from. You're set down, 4-love down. You're Louis and Anton. What are you telling yourself?
I'm telling myself, rip one down the line like that, see what happens.
So after the failed tweener and the failed cutter by Louis in the last few points, and that one, right? He's looking for triples and grand slams. I don't know what you guys think, right? This is when you press, it gets really tricky in paddle. Do you press with offense, or do you sort of lean into defense? What are you guys doing? You're down 3-1, 4-1, 5-1.
I really think it's kind of going back to the basics. You need to slow it down a little bit too. I feel like they need to stop the bleeding. There's a lot of bleeding going on, and they need to try to stop it, and you need to take your time, regroup, figure out what happened, and then start afresh.
That's the hardest part, is figuring out what is happening.
Right.
While it's happening, where all of us who are playing these tournaments, we all can figure it out, 2 hours later or the next day. But figuring out what's happening while it's happening is the hardest part.
Correct. I think a lot of the time you think you're doing something and you're not doing it until you go back and watch the film and see that you actually weren't doing it.
It's tough in the moment, right? That's why I think communication, a really good open, close partnership, people who can, talk to each other. But you're playing Osses-König and Humphreys, who are just so solid. There's not a spot on the court. There's no weakness. It's a little demoralizing coming up with a new strategy, especially, Macy, if your point's right that Louis and Anton, they don't really talk to each other, right? So what are they going to come up with?
But I think right now, both Osses-König and Humphreys are playing well, but right now Volley has a hot hand. Everything he has touched has turned into a winning point for them, right?
Right.
So they have to find a way to get him to cool down a little bit, and and maybe they'll shift the momentum their way, because he's playing on fire.
And that is like you were saying, comes down to the communication.
Yes.
Talking and noticing that.
Yeah.
Anyways, these two don't really understand each other, so I'm not sure that that would work.
Anton was saying that when they do signals, when they do formations.
Bailey,
For everyone who
Bailey,
knows,
the
like when you
second
do
set,
formations, you
5
put
game to
a
love.
signal
They won the
behind
first
you,
set,
behind your back,
6
so your
game
partner
to
can
4.
see. And so most people agree that a closed fist means stay.
Correct.
And or you put an open fist, you put your open hand, and that means go. And apparently, Louis says fist means go. And Anton said they learned that the hard way. And then they both ran into each other because Louis put the closed fist and Anton thought that meant stay. And
Why
apparently
am I
it
not
meant go.
surprised? Why am I not surprised?
Okay, let's see if we can see a amazing
five.
comeback here. Make this match last a little longer.
I think Louis is thinking about the afters right now.
15 love.
Louis might have one of the best hut PTIs I've ever seen.
Hut game is strong.
Hut game is very strong. Lindsay Herschel and Vic Cran have coined that term of having a hut PTI.
What is a hut PTI?
How good you're able to, hang and socialize and, be part of the atmosphere. And Herschel and Cran, their hut PTI is very strong.
Oh, yeah. Top of the women's, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Do we see a little bit of permanent eye there? A floating eye?
15
I think so.
I think it was floating eye formation, yeah.
They floated just to the wrong spot, and Chris Humphreys just laid it into a double backhand opening that Louis was not feeling it.
30,
Just
15.
missed it.
Humphreys flying across the court.
Steve, do you have any paddle player lookalikes? Is there anyone on the circuit who you think
Wow.
looks like
Yep.
a celebrity?
Eye.
Oh my goodness! I feel like there's
Oh my
the
God.
acronym, but the acronym shot, as we like to say. I feel like that was a loaded question from Elin. Let's you guys. It sounds like you have a handful of them you want to drop. So I'm going to let you guys start.
I'm blanking on them. Lynn, what do you
I
got?
just really, one of my members said to me the other day, and I was like dying, Andrew Ong, Mulan's husband or boyfriend.
Oh,
I can't remember what his name is, but it was crazy.
There you
I
go.
pulled up
That's
the
crazy.
picture, and I was like, yep, that's Andrew Ong.
well, we all know that Jose and Amin Kaduri are the same person.
40, 30.
That's pretty
Lynn's,
close.
okay,
That's a
hold
good
on.
one.
Lynn's giving me a look where
Shut
she's
the front
surprised.
door.
Have you not heard this?
No.
Jose
I haven't heard it, but the
Salazar
second you said it, I think.
and Amin
you
Kaduri
got
are
one.
the same person.
Amin, president of the APTA.
The, pre-
I
the,
love
CE
that one.
the CEO of the APTA and Jose, same person.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I see
I'm not
it.
sure I've ever seen them both in the
There
same
is
room at the same
photographic
time. so-
evidence.
Doppelgangers and slightly different PTIs, I suspect.
Yeah, Amin's is way better.
All right, sort of a big point to state the obvious. It'd be nice to see these guys get on the board.
All right, we have
Game,
5-1.
Protsenko,
There you go.
This is where we were in the first set also, mind
Yep.
you.
No bagels here.
At least a moral victory. So let's see if now they can deal with Chris Humphreys serving.
Chris Humphreys called no one. And Tom Protsenko was there. That's how
It's the
sneaky.
second time
That's
I've
how
s-
sneaky he is.
Right.
Great move by Louis Volclair.
Love
All right,
15.
our sponsor, Corian. Corian is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2024 to 2025 season. Corian is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do.
15 all.
Learn more at corient.com. It's so funny that you said that, Macy, because I know in our last match, for some reason, I never do this, but I was yelling no one
30,
and nobody.
15.
And you said that it kind of tripped you up a little bit.
Because I heard you say something like, oh, someone's here. And then, no, it's actually saying that nobody was there.
So what's
and
the protocol? What's the protocol? Is it, you know, what do you guys say when somebody's sort of blitzing in that position?
You just yell out of your mouth whatever you can
Right.
get out as soon as you
There you
can to make
There you
sure
go.
that they hit it. But it was because Lynn was telling me nobody, and I was, I was panicking, and and then I ended up hitting it down up overhead to I'm pretty sure Anna hitting a forehand drive. And we're like, that's and
Interesting shot
all of a
selection.
all of a sudden I'm almost getting hit. That's generally not what you want.
I think it's also tricky too because I usually yell hit, and hit can also mean hit a ball that you think is going out.
Nice shot. All right, we have
40,
a match,
15.
double match point.
That was really quick.
Great
Game,
serve
set, match.
Game, set,
Humphreys,
match.
Osses-König. They won the first
to the
set.
M4
serve.
boys.
Yeah,
That was a
Yeah,
quick
Won
one.
the
Louis-
second set,
Louis went for a
6-1.
big shot. Any final takes from you, Lynn, or you, Macy?
I love the way they played kind of to come back in that first set. I think they just didn't start off well in the second set, and a few too many unforced errors for sure from Volclair and Protsenko.
And I think that Humphreys and Osses-König they're here to show everyone that the Padel Tour hasn't taken the platform out of them, and they're a hot contender to do very well in this tournament.
next
And I think Felipe Osses-König played on fire. He was amazing, and Chris with the steady overhead. So they're a great team together. They played together for a long time, and we're very happy to have them back. We've missed them on the paddle circuit.
Absolutely. So certainly a pleasure. Go ahead, Lynn.
Sorry, I was just going to say I'm a firm believer in look good, feel good, play good, right?
Look good, feel good, play
Shout
good.
out to Dirk Dunlap with M4 Paddle.
That's right.
And there you go. So Macy Elliott, Lynn Burish, thank you so much. Big pleasure for the audience to get to hear you guys today. And that's a wrap for this men's quarterfinal match. Stay tuned. We are more to come with the women's semifinals up next. So that's a wrap. See you, everybody.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks for having us.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Johan Durant from SA Rackets. Just so you know, they forced me to do this tip for APTA. It's not going to be as good as the SA Rackets one, so follow them. But here comes the tip. It's very simple. On the volley, if you can, and you're close to net, really work on closing your racket face, because that way you can keep the ball down. If you keep your face open and they hit it hard, it's very difficult to get the ball in. Maybe a little bit more. Hey, hit it low here, donkey. Simple tip, but a good one. If you change from being on the net to off the net, obviously you want your face to be open. Fantastic. Thank you very much for listening.